Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Ali is somebody who needs no introduction. He's a successful YouTuber, podcaster, entrepreneur, productivity coach. But is he a successful writer? Well, this book is already a New York Times bestseller, so that's kind of given. But it's been 2 months since I've actually read this book. So did it actually create an impact in my life or change the way I go about my daily work routine? Or is it yet another book from a YouTube guru who will tell you to outsource everything so that you can spend your precious days replying to emails and has no idea how people in the 9-to-5 environment works? Well, that's what we are going to cover in this video today. Well, just in case if you're looking for a quick summary of the book, in short, just go ahead and buy this book. It is good. If you're someone who is neck deep on productivity and who has read absolutely every article out there, you might not find this fascinating. But if you're someone who is new and who is looking to improve your productivity standards, then this book would definitely help you. But there is a certain way you have to read this, and there is a certain approach in which I'm, trying to accommodate this book on and the learnings I picked up from this book. If you want to find all about that, and if you want to understand why did I come to this conclusion, then continue watching this video. Like most of you people, I've been following Ali Abdaal since 2019 during his medical college days, and ever since he announced about writing a book, I've been following his journey about the 2000 words per day commitment and all those stuff. So when the book was finally launched, I was pretty excited, but there was still a bit of hesitance because I have actually purchased a lot of products from these YouTube influencers, and pretty much all the time I've been disappointed. So I was not ready for yet another disappointment. So I decided all right, let's wait, let's hear about the reviews and then let's go ahead with it. When the book came out, there were mixed reviews. I went to Goodreads, Amazon, etc. But still, I just decided, all right, let's go ahead and try the book out and find it myself. 2 months ago, I finally bought the book, and I actually read the book in 2 days, and I spent most of my time reading the book in a hospital waiting area. And trust me, if you haven't read this book, there is no better place to read this book than in a hospital waiting area, especially the introduction.
Feeling very overwhelmed. When you're working a full-time day job, I was working like 60 hours a week.
I'll be covering the review of this book in the following sequence without any spoilers. Don't worry about that. Feel free to jump into any sections which actually interest you or just watch the full video. So I'll be covering the review of this book in the following sequence. Feel free to jump around and watch your favorite parts. Number 1, I want to talk about the quick outline of the book without spoilers. Number 2, how was my reading experience? And number 3, few lessons which I picked out, just a few, not much. And then my conclusive review of the book and how I'm going to approach to continue reading this book in the future as well. So let's begin. The first one, a quick outline of the book. I actually have to take this book. So in case you're noticing, I didn't read this on Kindle because I want to take a break. And since I was reading from a hospital, I really couldn't take a lot of notes. But this was really interesting. So basically, the book is categorized into 3 parts: energize, unblock, and sustain. He has conveyed in multiple videos. This book is all about helping you not just ace productivity, but instead of enjoy being productive. That's the overall essence of it. To help you achieve that, he has categorized it into 3 parts. The first one is called energize, wherein you're preparing yourself to make productivity fun. There is one part which is called play, where he would ask the question like, what would it look like if this was fun? You're doing a boring task and you ask yourself this question to make it more fun. There is a lot of nerdy content out there, but there was one incident which I could relate to. During my engineering days and my school days, there used to be something called record notebook work. There would be tons and tons of handwritten notes, and it felt pointless doing it, but you still have to do if you want good grades. So what I used to do is I used to practice calligraphy while writing it, and it was enjoyable. Like all of a sudden, the boring record work turned really exciting. I used to write pages and then look it from a distance on how exactly it would look like and all those stuff. So yeah, that is exactly what he tries to convey in Play, Power, and People. The second one is Unblock, which is all about procrastination, probably the most important chapters which everyone would be excited about. It is about seeking clarity in what you do, finding courage to do more, and of course, getting started. Reduce the friction if you want to do something. In order to set this YouTube studio, it took me almost 30 minutes, so I'm never going to do this again. But yes, this is exactly what he talks about, how to reduce friction in order to get started. The third part is called Sustain, where he talks about how can you continue being productive on the long run. This is quite again a common case which everyone can relate to. All of a sudden you're doing a lot of things and then you continue doing it for maybe 1 or 2 days, like those New Year resolutions, and then you simply stop doing it. So how exactly do you address that? So that's the quick outline of the book. I hope I didn't spoil anything for you. go ahead and check it out. Moving on to the next part, the reading experience. How do I put this? Okay, so when I say reading experience, I want to talk about how exactly the writing is and what is the structure of the book, how easy it is to read and understand the concepts, etc. The most important thing about the book is he starts with the term that I'm going to suggest you 12 experiments. All 12 might not work for you, so just feel free to pick up the ones that work for you, which is probably the best statement he could have opened with. Because usually when we approach books, we sort of confuse between progress and perfection. Like, if I read these 12 things, if I've just adapted 2 things, it's still progress. But often we try to nail all those 12 experiments and we fail and you just drop it there. So that's a pretty good point to start with. And other than that, each chapter has a summary. So since I didn't take my Kindle, I didn't take any notes for completing this. But it is very easy for me to just go through the summary quickly and understand or recollect what the chapter is all about. There are a lot of citations like psychology research paper references in order to solidify the claims which he makes in each chapter. At one point, it felt like a bit too much, like almost 50 to 60% of the book is about psychological citations and references. Maybe 30% is about Ali's own experience or, different times in life where he went through all these things. And then 20% is the Gyan part. So I felt like that is a bit too much at the end as I, try to reach. But again, depends on individual's taste. And then, of course, the overall readability is really good. I didn't have to run through the library each time, I come across a difficult word. You wouldn't find it difficult to read or, difficult to understand certain words. So that's about the reading experience. So now let's move on to the few lessons which I picked out. Now, like I said, I was reading this while waiting in a hospital room, and my core idea was to pick up a few lessons and try to implement and see how it would change my life. So here are a few things which I picked out. But before getting into it, there is one particular word, that stood out for me, which was doom scrolling. So 2020, each year, the Oxford Dictionary comes out with a word of the year. And he said for 2020, it should actually be doom scrolling. So that sort of lit up a spark for me because I've been struggling with doom scrolling for a while now. And I always felt like if I stop doing that, like I could become a YouTube influencer or I could become a writer or anything pretty much I want in my life. That's always how we think of things. But again, doom scrolling is something which I suffered from. So I immediately took out my phone and I uninstalled Instagram, YouTube, and all the social media apps just to take a break and see how things felt. This is extremism. I wouldn't encourage you to do it, but I tried it and it's been 2 months. And trust me, I still don't feel like I want to go back. I don't miss anything. And I'm a digital marketer, so it is really essential for my job to stay updated with all social media trends. But so far, it doesn't seem to have impacted me. Like my friends still share me, posts via emails and, LinkedIn. That does the job. So that's really something I'm thankful for, after reading this book over the last 2 months. Now, on to the next thing was identified motivation. Quite often, we think of motivation as something that enable us to do things. And there would be a research paper citation where he would discuss different types of motivation. And the main type which works well for most people is people who envision how would it look like if they achieved success at the end. It talks about a hike where people, walk across around 5,000 miles or 3,000 miles. And the people who manage to complete it are people who envision how good it would look like if they have completed those 3,000 miles. So they have purpose, they have discipline, and they also know how good it would feel like if they manage to complete this hike. That's something which was really exciting for me, and I try to pick up that every time now I try to do things. I don't think about the step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I immediately think of the end result and how good it will be if I manage to achieve that. That's a good pickup for me. The third one is my favorite, which is called rest day. He quotes an example where one day he comes late from hospital and he's absolutely tired. He still has to do a lot of things with his YouTube channel. And his friend comes in and says, why don't you just call it a rest day? He uses a different term, I forgot. But yeah, this is basically where you say, I'm just going to call it a day. I'm not going to do anything. And he has continued to do this over the last few years, wherein he just doesn't do anything on those given days, just simply nothing, just exist. Watch Netflix or do something you like. The reason why he says this is important is because productivity is a long-term game. If I create YouTube videos every day for the next 1 year, and if I think I can stop, I'm wrong. I still have to continue to do these things, forever. So it is better if I could pace myself and during such days, take a step back, relax, and then, continue to do it in the long run. So that's something I've been missing in my life. I always felt like if I switch off, then everything is going to fall down. But luckily, that's not the case. There is a person to validate it now as well. Point number 3 is the spotlight effect. This is another interesting case study where it basically says that if you say something awkward to someone, you often feel like, oh my God, everybody is looking at me right now. How would I even show my face there? We often overvalue how much others think of us. And that's actually true. I have done this quite a bit of times. I've embarrassed myself in certain situations. I used to present or host events and functions, and there's absolutely no way you can, cross over that without saying something embarrassing or something you regret. And oftentimes I think, all right, this is the end of the world. I'm never going to step into this stage again. I would never get this chance again. But guess what? People don't remember that. You go back and ask them, like, did you actually notice, I misspelled this word and stuff? They're like, no, I don't remember that. And yeah, that's pretty interesting. It just allows you to take more chances with yourself, be a little more kind if you make any mistakes, and just gives you more confidence. That's something which is really fueling. The last one, which is another favorite thing of mine, which I personally use, is Batman effect. Quite a few of these things, like when you read it, you would find that you actually use these things or you actually follow these things, but you don't realize it as a name. So Batman effect is something like that, where when people are difficult, like I think he quotes Beyonce and who's another singer. Oh my God, I'm going to get killed for not naming the singer. Ariana Grande, if I'm not wrong. So he quotes them both, and what he basically says is that if these people, like when they have stage fears, they invent an alter ego or a personality to whom they transform to. Like when I make YouTube videos, I tend to be Ali Abdaal sometimes, or sometimes I used to be Peter McKinnon, or sometimes I used to place things hard on the table and call myself Unbox Therapy. So basically you switch into different alter ego types, and often it plays like mono acting, but at the end of the day, it gives you the confidence to do what you're supposed to do. And once you step off the stage, you just remove your alter ego. So whatever fears you have, like if I'm struggling to face the camera, etc., but right now I'm going to act as if I'm Ali Abdaal, then I should be confident in front of the camera, right? I should be immersed in the way I speak, my hand gestures, everything automatically changes. So that's something nice to pick up and follow as well. And at the end of the day, all these things are quite fun to do. That's basically what I love about it. So these are 5 things which I picked up from the book, and I've been following it over the last few months. Some of these things I've been following it for ages, but I never really realized I've been following it. All in all, a good experience. All right, now on to the conclusive review of the book. So like I said earlier, if you're someone who has been following Ali Abdaal's work over the last 5 years, then you might find a bit of some of these things a little too much or a little repetitive or something you've already heard. But the way I would approach this book is something similar to how I approach the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. So both these books are kind of similar. They are very simple, straightforward, and they just repeat what you already know, but you forget to follow. That's exactly how I would put it. So if you're someone who has read a lot of productivity books, or if you're following productivity coaches consistently, you already know all the theories which are in this book. But this book would be a good reminder time and again. Read a single chapter out of the book, and it would automatically motivate you to do something. Each page has a lot of wisdom in it. I'm not saying it's a newborn wisdom, but it definitely carries some stuff there. So that's exactly how I'm gonna approach this book. And if you're someone like me, then I would suggest the same. Buy the book, just keep it there. Or just download it on Kindle. That's a better thing to do. I'm not buying physical books, at least for a while from now on. But saying that, yes, go ahead, buy the book, and just take a page out of the chapter every now and then and try to read it. I'm pretty sure it will give you some sort of motivation to do some things, or it would just get you excited by reading all those stuff. That's pretty much it. This is the first time I'm actually dropping a book review. I've been reading it for a while. I've been taking notes, but I've never actually dropped a book review. This is the first time I'm doing it. And if you're someone who has watched it till now, and please go ahead and do what you have to do. If this video does well, I would definitely love to make a lot of videos. Like, actually, I'm just going to make 3 more videos like this and then see if I should make book reviews or not. And if you didn't like something about this video, or if you want me to change something, do let me know as well. It's been a while since I made a YouTube video, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to listen what you have to say. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and share this to someone who follows Ali Abdaal, and ask him to buy the book using the link I've shared in the description, because I would get commission when you buy the book through my links. Why not? Like, be kind, do it. Why am I thinking like this? want to make some jokes which are like funny and stuff, but why would he use all these colors, man? Seriously, like probably too late to reprint maybe. I think I should write a book. Firstly, let me write a book. Let me become an influencer as well, and then I'll write a book tomorrow.